I've gone to around 16 concerts the last year, so here are my concert tips mainly for GA. The most common question I get about going to concerts is how do I go to so many, which I usually just say I buy the ticket and I go. But what I think they mean is how do I have the money to get so many tickets, and how do I even find out about the concerts in the first place? So for the first one, I think most people think most concerts are really expensive, which obviously there are those big concerts that everyone wants to go to that are extremely expensive, but 90% of concerts I go to are pretty affordable, especially for GA concerts, which is what I'm focusing on right now. And for GA concerts, I would generally say the average price for a GA show, I would say, is $50 to $60. It could go higher than that or lower. Generally depends on the venue or the artist, but around that price I would say, which in my opinion isn't that much when you consider the prices for other things, especially things like merch. Considering some artists are charging upwards of $80 for a hoodie and $60 for t-shirts, which is almost double the price of the ticket itself. So if you're asking me, I would rather hold my money off from buying a hoodie and a t-shirt and go to a concert. While I said the average price for a GA show is generally $50 to $60, that is if you get it for the standard price, which this is probably the part where people get confused about concert prices, because they probably check the resale prices instead of the actual standard price for tickets. If you aren't able to get tickets directly from the ticket seller, you're probably gonna have to buy resale, which are generally more expensive. But my solution for this is sign up for email newsletters for Ticketmaster, Spotify, Axis, and any other ticket brokers you might want to use. Not only do they let you know about who's going on tour, which solves the other problem of not really knowing about which concerts are going on and when, but they also let you know when tickets are actually going on sale, so you can actually get the tickets for the standard price instead of paying resale. I think this generally solves the two problems people have when they ask me how do I go to so many concerts, which is, again, how do I have the money to buy so many tickets, and how do I know when concerts are going on. Another benefit about signing up for Ticketmaster, Access, or Spotify email newsletters is that you'll also gain access to pre-sale for certain artists. An example of this is Spotify. When an artist you like is going on a tour, they'll notify you through an email and even sometimes give you access to their pre-sale, which means you can buy tickets before the general sale even starts, which most of the time is even cheaper than a general sale. And other ways to get pre-sale is just signing up through Ticketmaster, depending on the artist and how they're handling it, or just checking artist Instagram whenever they announce a tour, because most of the time, at least from my experience, they'll tweet about their tour, and in the description or the caption they'll say pre-sale code is this, and pre-sale at this time, and general sale this time. So the fans are actually keeping up with their Instagram, and just whatever they're doing will be the first ones to actually buy the tickets. And again, pre-sale is usually cheaper than general sale. So the last tip for this section is waiting for the very last moment to buy tickets. I know that sounds kind of risky, which it is. So how this works is that on the day of the concert, some people just want to maybe get rid of their tickets because something came up, an emergency happened, and they're just trying to frantically get rid of it. They don't really care about the price anymore because it's the day of the concert, they just need to get rid of it fast. Same goes for resellers. If they weren't able to make money off their show by overpricing the ticket, and after today they're going to lose all their money, and they would rather at least sell a ticket for some money than lose it all. So that's why on the day of the show, sometimes you see tickets going for well below the standard price or even the pre-sale price of the tickets. Again, this is kind of risky as all the tickets might have already been sold, and if it's a concert with high demand and there are still people buying tickets for really expensive, since it's a high demand concert. So this only really works for a concert that isn't in that high demand. It could work for a concert that is in high demand, but again, it's risky. The more high demand the concert is, the riskier it gets. So if you're willing to risk for the day of the concert to get tickets, check sites like SeatGeek, StubHub, Ticketmaster, or any ticket reselling sites to see if anyone's really selling tickets for well below the standard price of the tickets. I've gotten great deals doing this. As a matter of fact, the most recent concert I've been to, I got for $12, which was a great price. So it's definitely worth a shot. As it has worked for me. But again, don't go into this thinking that you're gonna get tickets for cheap or if you're gonna get tickets at all, because sometimes tickets might still be expensive if, again, the concert is in high demand, or there might be no tickets at all. So my first tip for the actual concert is stay hydrated. I know you always hear about this, which is an obvious one, but my own tip that I invented myself is that stay hydrated before the concert. What I mean by this is that from the moment you wake up, start drinking water. Because the more you drink water throughout the day, the less you're gonna have to drink at the actual show. So for me, before I go to a GA concert, throughout the day, I stay drinking water because I don't want to be drinking water at the show. Obviously, if you need to drink water at the show, drink water. But to minimize the amount you need to drink water at the show, drink water throughout the day, as I've noticed that has helped me a ton from having to leave the pit a ton of times just to get water. And obviously, if you're all the way in the front, you don't want to leave that spot that you have just to get water. And again, staying hydrated might seem like an obvious tip, which I think it is, but you'll be surprised about how many people don't want to listen to this tip and pass out at shows. Trust me, you do not want to be that person that doesn't want to leave their spot in the pit to get water and then pass out at the show. So if you really need water, just leave your spot and get water. Sometimes venue staff does pass around water bottles to the people in front, but if they aren't, again, just leave and get water. But a bonus tip for this section, if you really want to go prepared, is get a water pack. So if you don't know what a water pack is, it's basically a backpack you fill up with water that's connected to a tube, which is like your straw, and you drink from it. My brother has one, and whenever I use his at shows, it's extremely useful, but there's also a downside to it, as everyone around you is going to be asking you for water. So my second tip is go early. Again, I think this one's kind of obvious, but for some reason, some people think they can show up whenever the artist is actually going to come out, which isn't the case. As if you're driving, you're gonna have to find parking, and who knows how long that's gonna take. And then you also have to wait in line. Maybe you want to get merch, maybe you want to use the bathroom. Generally, I get there around 1 hour before the doors start, 1 hour before doors open, maybe even earlier if it's an artist I really want to see, or if it's an artist that's really popular and I know their fans are crazy and they line up in the morning. So try to use your best judgment, or try to ask people that you know are going to the show when they're showing up, so you can kind of gauge when you're gonna show up to see where you're gonna be in the line. But I would say for most shows, an hour before the doors open. That might be a bit early for people that don't really go to shows, but honestly, some of my favorite times at concerts honestly isn't even a concert, but just vibing outside with everyone there, because everyone there is there for the same thing, seeing the artist you guys all want to see. So it's pretty easy to make friends and just talk to people, and it's honestly always a good time. And sometimes some just crazy things happen in line that you would never expect. Like personally, I have some pretty funny moments just waiting in line for shows. So yeah, that's my tip for getting there early. But if you really don't care about where you are in line, or don't care about getting merch, are just there to go to the show and just see the performance, you can get there when doors open, or honestly like 20 or 30 minutes before the artist actually come on. And obviously this is for GA shows. For seated shows, obviously you can just get there when the doors open, because you're just going to your chair. You don't gotta worry about your spot in the pit or anything like that. So next tip is getting to the front. So most people will tell you just get there extremely early, which I would agree with if you wanted to get barricade. But in my opinion, I don't think it's worth getting there at 7 in the morning just to get barricade, when I can get there, like I said, an hour before the doors open and get probably the second or third row most of the time. So yeah, if you want to get barricade, get there as early as possible. I'm talking about the morning, or maybe even the night before. But if you don't really care about being the very first row, you're fine with second, third, fourth row, this is my tip. So my tip is honestly just push your way to the front. I mean, it's really that simple. I know you might be scared about getting into a fight because you're pushing people trying to get to the front, but trust me, most of the time people don't care. As long as you're polite and not shoving. There's a difference between trying to get to the front and kind of like moving your way to the front and just shoving everyone out the way trying to get in the front. That's where you're actually gonna get into a fight. But as long as you're saying things like excuse me, excuse me, excuse me, and trying to get to the front, and don't be shy trying to get in and out of the pit, as people are going in and out of the pit constantly. So another person trying to get in isn't too much of a big deal, as long as you're not doing it rudely or in the middle of a really hype song. You could also pretend you're looking for a friend that's up in the front, which again always works. I know it might seem mean to someone that doesn't really go to concerts, but trust me, it's a common thing to try to get to the front. And again, just think about it. Do you want to see the show or not? Oh, and also make sure when you're pushing through other people, make sure you're on the side of the venue because people tend to gravitate towards the middle. So the sides have generally less people, so they're a lot easier to get to the barricade or just a lot closer to the actual stage. In my opinion though, getting barricade or getting towards the front really isn't that worth it, as most concerts I would rather just be in the pit vibing out with everyone else rather than struggling to try to get barricade or to the front. Especially for rap shows that have mosh pits, I would definitely rather be in the mosh pits than be in the front. It obviously depends what show it is, but being in the front isn't always all that fun. I've had shows where I've been in the front and in the back, and sometimes the people in the back are just way funner to be around, and you're also just not being pushed around everywhere. Also, being in the back, you don't gotta worry about someone a lot taller than you being in front of you, and you generally just have a better view and just have less problems being in the back. I enjoy being in the middle, being in the front, and being in the back. I honestly think they'll have the general pros and cons. Okay, next one is when to get merch, which for me, I usually just get merch right when I go into the venue, which is why, again, like I said, that's why you should go an hour before doors open. You could get merch after the show, but you are risking some sizes being sold out or everything being sold out. So again, just get merch right when you get into the venue. Next tip is make friends, because even if you're going with a group of 5 or 6, I mean, it's a J show. Everyone's pitching around. If there's mosh pits, you never know what's gonna happen. You might get lost. There's no service sometimes in these venues. So the more people you know at these shows, the better it's gonna be. And again, who doesn't want to make friends with people that just like the same music as you? You're all there to see the same person, and you guys are probably all into the same music, so it's gonna be pretty easy to make friends. And the more shows you go to, you're gonna be seeing the same people. So it's gonna be kind of like a reunion every time you go to a new show. So trust me, I really recommend making friends with people at shows, as you never know when you're gonna need a favor, when you're gonna need a portable charger that you don't have, when you need some water. You really just don't know what you're gonna need, and knowing more people, just the better. They can also save your spot in the pit and in line if you're going alone. So if you need to use the bathroom or get some food, you can leave the line or the pit and they can save your spot. And if you're going with a group of people, make sure you have a meeting spot inside a venue or outside the venue. Like I said, since it's GA, you're most likely gonna get lost eventually, so make sure you have a meeting spot in the venue or outside the venue, because again, sometimes these venues just don't have service. My next tip involves taking videos, which honestly, I really don't recommend taking videos, as I believe in just experiencing the moment. And even if you do want videos, everyone else is going to be taking videos, and probably even better videos than you are going to take. So just ask anyone else for a video if they can send it to you. And if you made friends, like I said to, you can just ask them for videos. So while you're actually experiencing the show, everyone else is going to be taking videos, and you can just ask them for them after the show. As a matter of fact, all the videos I'm showing you right now are either taken from YouTube or my friends that went to a show with me. Most of them I never even took. And even let's say you don't know anyone that took videos, just check TikTok, Instagram, YouTube for the show you went to, and I guarantee you someone is bound to upload some videos. So next is what to wear. So a common misconception is bringing a big hoodie, because you're gonna be waiting in line for an hour in the freezing cold, which sounds like a good idea until you actually get into the venue. And obviously, if you know anything about GA pits, you're gonna be extremely hot and dehydrated. And the last thing you wanna be wearing is a hoodie. So my recommendation is just don't bring a hoodie. Unless you really wanna bring that hoodie because you're gonna be cold outside, make sure to use coat check in the venue. But again, I recommend just not bringing your hoodie at all. But I would really recommend not bringing your hoodie, because I would rather spend an hour outside cold than 3 hours inside a concert fighting for my life because I'm extremely hot, or just having to carry around my hoodie. So what I do wear to the show is just a t-shirt and some pants, specifically cargo pants or pants with pockets that have zippers. You could also go with some shorts that also have pockets with zippers, and shoes that are just comfortable and you're not gonna get tired in. And I also don't recommend platform shoes unless you're just really short and really want to see. But generally, I would just recommend anything that's comfortable to you and that isn't gonna have you too sweaty. Next tip is how to actually meet an artist if you don't have meet and greet. Well, I guess first one, just buy meet and greet if you really want to meet them. If you didn't buy meet and greet or they don't have one, first of all, if it's a big artist, big venue, and obviously if it's not GA, just don't even think about meeting them. It's probably not going to happen. If it's a generally smaller artist, and it's a smaller J venue, you actually have a pretty decent chance depending on the artist. As for me, I've actually met a couple artists and gotten a couple of signatures just from waiting outside the venue. And that's pretty much the tip. If you want to meet an artist, you're just gonna have to wait outside in the freezing cold. I've had to wait almost 3 to 4 hours to meet some of the artists I wanted to see, and it was extremely cold, but at least there's some people waiting with you, so you can just talk about the concert and just talk about anything while waiting for them. When the artist comes out, don't just swarm the artist asking for pictures, asking for autographs. That's just annoying. Be respectful, just ask them nicely, and if they don't even want to take a picture or sign for anything, don't get mad or start screaming at them for a picture or a signature, as they don't owe you anything. They didn't ask you to wait outside. You didn't pay for a meet and greet or anything like that. The only thing they owed you was a show, because that's what you paid for, not for a signature or a picture. Not every artist does pictures or like a mini meet and greet after shows. Some artists do. Again, it's just a matter of waiting for them outside the venue, or asking other people that have been to their shows that are waiting for them if they stop by for fans after shows. It could take a while for them to come out too. Again, I've waited up to 3 to 4 hours for artists to come out, and sometimes they don't even stop for pictures or a signature. The most you should expect is just for them to come out and probably just glance at you and walk to the tour bus. Some artists do take pictures and sign stuff, but again, you shouldn't be expecting that, as you're taking the risk of waiting for them. Okay, the next thing is what to bring and what not to bring. And before you even think about what to bring, make sure you check the venue's website, because they should have a list of things you can bring and things you cannot bring, and just general rules and frequently asked questions people have about the venue. So what to bring: your phone, obviously, that's fully charged and that has storage space so you can take videos if you really want to do that. Your wallet with cash, because you never know when you're gonna need cash. A water pack, like I said, a fanny pack or over shoulder bag that you don't have to carry around, it's just over your shoulder. A fan, a portable charger, earplugs in case the music is too loud for you. As for the essential things you need to bring, honestly, the less you bring, the better. Every time I go to a J concert, honestly, just bring my phone, keys, and my wallet, and again, just the most comfortable clothes I can wear. But the things I listed are really useful just in case you do want to bring extra things. And what not to bring: a hoodie, like I said, or any clothing that's gonna make you really hot or uncomfortable. A big bag or backpack. Uncomfortable or new shoes. Dangly earrings, because that's just gonna get caught on something and your whole ear is gonna bleed. And trust me, that's happened to me before, and I didn't even have dangly earrings and my whole ear was bleeding down to like my neck. A professional camera, because most venues don't even allow you to bring that. And anything else that just isn't necessary and you don't want to be carrying around, or anything the venue isn't going to allow you to bring inside. And I think that's pretty much everything I want to talk about. I know there's probably a lot more I could have talked about, but this video is already getting long, and I think that's pretty much enough.